In this video, I would like to share my altcoin watch list that I have my eyes on for 2023 and also when I think it's the right time to buy these altcoins. For the new people on this channel, thanks for joining. I got a lot of comments on the last videos where I was talking about altcoins potentially go down, and I'm happily surprised to see that a lot of people appreciate that content because most people, of course, want to hear that they are going up and they don't maybe like someone that says it might come down. I appreciate the fact that you're open to listen to that. Nevertheless, let's take a look at these altcoins, because at a certain point, there will be a time where it is a good time to buy altcoins, and you do not want to be in a camp where you do not have set up your watch list or you have basically no idea what you want to buy, because by then, you know, the time is running out. Usually, if we also take a look at the altcoin market in the last bear cycle, you know, we had the bear market. We are somewhere maybe around here, give or take, right? Let's say we do get that same kind of a capitulation, right? These wicks are very short. Now, of course, we cannot catch that wick, but anywhere below here is a good sign. That's a good place to buy, but that's not a lot of time, of course, right? So nevertheless, what the market is doing right now, you already want to do your research. So I will give you the list with altcoins that I am having my eyes on, and like I said, when I think, when I am going to buy them, let me put it like that. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, and you know, let's go, let's get for it. Sorry, I have to wake up. So at the moment, still Bitcoin is not really doing much. It's sitting at around 27.5, maybe a little different by the time that you watch the video, but yeah, not a big difference probably. Bitcoin is finding support at the 100 weighted moving average, and that's an important level. We had a wick down below it, but we are still holding up right there. So that's you know, that's a really good sign for Bitcoin. Stochastic RSI on the daily is also bottoming out right here, oversold territory. Could stay there for a long while, of course, was the fact here as well. And we still went down from 22K all the way down to 19K. So it does not mean that we cannot go lower. But it does mean that it's at least not overbought at this point, right? So that's looking a little better. The total crypto market for altcoins it hasn't really changed, still around 355 billion. So we got a rejection in this weekly candle right here. We are now under the bull market support band, and if altcoins really want to pick up some steam, we do have to close the week above 364 billion. So we have to add 10 billion to the altcoin market. So if someone has lying like $10 billion around, come on, just help the bulls out. If you're not willing to do that, then don't complain about that. It's going down. I mean, what you want, right? Now, I feel like still this trend is intact because, yeah, it is. Sorry, right? I mean, we are in this falling wedge. We got a rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. We do bounce off these bottoms here as well. But we just got another rejection. So it's very simple for me, like, okay, as long as this trend is still in play, it's not impossible for us to go down to the, you know, to the downside of this trend again as well. But that would mean a lower low. Even if we put it in today, it would mean a lower low compared to where we were in December, right? And yeah, the longer it takes for us to do that, the lower it gets. Now, I mean, we can break out of this. We will break out of this wedge eventually, you know. I mean, November 2023, give or take, is the latest where we will do that. It can happen before that, right? We were also in this wedge, and here it could happen in March 2019. Yeah, what happened? We broke below it in December 2018, and then we broke above it finally in February 2019. Now, you must not forget that by the time that we do break out of this wedge to the upside, right, because the bull market will finally, you know, show a little steam, it doesn't mean it's a straight line up, right? It's also what happened right here. We broke out of it, and yeah, we went up a lot, but in that same year, and even the year after that, we went all the way down again as well, and we made a new low, right? So overall, this was just a sideways period. until, you know, the bull market really started. Okay, so even if we do break out, you are going to hear a lot of people talk about alt season, bull market, all of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to happen, right? You can call this a bull market, you can call this a bear market, you can call this a bull market, a bear market. Overall, this is just sideways until the actual bull market starts. So it's possible that we do that. Well, before we dive into the when, I want to dive into the what, aka what coins do I have on my radar. Now, I have set up a DCA 2023 watch list right here. It has a couple of coins, right? Not everything. There are a lot of altcoins that I'm looking at that I don't have in here. But these coins that I have in here are at least my conviction plays, which I don't personally already have enough of. Okay, for example, I'm a big fan of CDFI, but CDFI is not in that list because I already have a lot of these tokens. And again, I know it sounds a little hypocritical, like, okay, don't buy altcoins right now, it's probably going down, so why do you have a bag? I already had that back. I was accumulating it in the bull, in the bear, a little sideways. A CDFI, for me, I have that altcoin not because the token goes up, but because I can participate in these lunches that they do. So that's a little different. But I'm also not willing to sell right now, right? I mean, if you do look at this chart like this, yes, you can sell here and buy back right here. But the little altcoins that I already have, I feel like, man, I'm gonna just hold on to them and I will get more when the market is looking better. So, but not a lot of altcoins are in this list. There are also a lot of altcoins that I, you know, get passively, like the Delysium tokens, like ChainGPT, like Gala film tokens, whatever, I'm running a node for that. So I don't add them as I don't need to buy them anymore. So I have Altura, for example. Now, Altura is one of these coins that already had a pretty insane run from 0.007 to, well, 4 cents. So it did like 7x right here, give or take. And that's a pretty hard run. And Altura did not really see its big pullback yet, in my opinion. Yes, from the top to where we are right now, it's down 24%. But, you know, what's a 24% correction after a 590% move to the upside? I think Altura somewhere between 2.7 cents and 2.2 cents is a very nice place to get into. That's the golden zone. That's where the bull market support band comes in right now. By that time, we have the 50 daily moving average. And Altura ran too hard to go down all the way here, I think. Nevertheless, it will have a big pullback. You'll see, by the way, with all these coins, I also have their Bitcoin pairs on the watch list. If you make your watch list on TradingView or whatever, I suggest also look at the Bitcoin pairs, as the Bitcoin pair is a very good indicator of the of what a token might do as well. Watch yesterday's video. There I'm gonna explain a lot more about that, and that video also shows why, for example, a Falcon Forged at $3, right? A lot of people will look at it like, oh, this is the range, right? Between $2.80 and $5. So it's now at the downside of the range. So it's a good moment to buy. No, it's not, because it's sitting at the same place at where it was in, let's say, November. But if you look at the Bitcoin pair, right, it's not sitting where it was in November. It's way lower, right? So Falcon Forged is actually already a lot lower because, you know, Bitcoin is just flying and altcoins are not. So the support is already gone. So it means that now if Bitcoin has a good run to the downside, if Bitcoin falls to the downside, then this support is already gone. And that means that the dollar amount will crash as well, right? The only way to prevent that is to go down on the Bitcoin dominance right now. But the Bitcoin dominance, 48%, it's holding up quite well right here for now. It's absolutely different than what it was here, right here. They pumped, and within a few days they got down already. We have now been here for almost 2 months, So it's showing some relative strength, and therefore I don't really want to bet too much on the fact that the dominance will go down now as well. I'm prepared with a little bit of my money for such a move, but I'm mostly prepared for the dominance to finally break out now as well, and that will completely destroy altcoins. So therefore I'm a little careful. But back to the list at least. Sorry, I need my coffee, man. Avax. I have Avax on my list. I think Avax is a very good layer one. They do a lot with gaming lately. They have a lot of good partnerships. The token price is getting more attractive as where we are right now. I think that Avax at $10 was a pretty good buy. But I also think we will get there again for Avax. I don't think this is the last time we went there. Might be wrong, but if it ever gets there, then it's a very interesting place to buy. If you look at Avax Bitcoin as well, also broke the Bitcoin support already, right? So it's quite funny that the last time in December, Avax was sitting lower, right, on its dollar value, like 50% lower. If you look at December on its Bitcoin valuation, it was sitting higher, right? So if that was the whole point of, you know, get Bitcoin and buy altcoins with your Bitcoin, because if you have cash to buy, you can now not buy Avax at its lows. Even more, it's 50% more expensive right now than what it was back here, right? But if you were in Bitcoin, you can now buy the low, right? And it doesn't mean we won't see a low next week or the week after that, but you get the picture, right? So therefore, it's important in these times also to be prepared with Bitcoin. You don't miss out on the market if it runs, and you still have something to buy these altcoins with. It's a good way to be prepared for both scenarios, right? And Bitcoin, $27,000. I think Bitcoin will see a 10x from here. So if you miss out for some reason, you can still pull off a 10x on Bitcoin. So yeah, NFT Champions is one of a more high risk play than that I have in this list. But yeah, I don't know. I have my eyes on this. I think NFT Champions is a project that might surprise us. It's very micro cap, so be a little careful with these kind of things, especially now in this market, of course. But I have it on my watch list, right? And it had a pretty decent run. They got the Epic Game Store listing, and they ran from well, a cent basically to 3 cents, more than 3 cents. So it 3x'd. And yeah, then you get these people that buy the top, of course, and because they feel the FOMO, and I mean, people sold here, right? So who they sell to? Well, to the people that bought right there. Therefore, I'm saying all the time, crypto is player versus player. You don't want to be the losing player, right? So therefore, you do not want to buy here. Wait for it to cool off and then buy. It had a perfect bounce here, by the way, on this, you know. This was good support. Once we broke it, it was resistance here as well. Now we broke it again, and now it turns out to be support. I think that 15 cents, that 1.5 cents is a good place for Champ to put in a first DCA. But I still want to remind you guys about the fact that if the total 3 indeed comes down, that's the 1 hour chart. If the total 3 indeed comes down here, that's not comparable anymore to these kind of prices. Okay, that would put well, for example, NFT Champions maybe somewhere here, right? And that's like 60, 70, 80% lower, because the total 3, again, if it comes down 30%, yeah, okay, and maybe even more. But this includes stables, right? Stables don't come down 30% usually. So that would mean that your altcoins actually go down a lot more than that, right? So that's something I want you to consider. I'm looking at these levels. Definitely, I'm looking at these levels, but it doesn't mean that it can go lower. But yeah, that's the thing. Therefore, you want a dollar cost, because I can say like, oh, it's probably going here. And I don't buy anything in this area. But what if it doesn't go down here? Then I miss out completely. You bet the dollar cost a little bit. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at this chart, isn't this like a good accumulation area? Yeah, overall, I think even if you buy now, you will be off very fine if this project survives and does well. But yeah, buying here and ride it to this wick, for example, is 1000%, right? But if it does come down here and you ride it to this wick, that's already 2500% gain. So it actually matters. So yeah, Ethereum, I do want to buy Ethereum still, but I just think that $1,800 Ethereum is way too expensive at this moment. And I feel like Ethereum should at least get to around, like, I don't know if we will see this low again for Ethereum. I don't know. I mean, if let me put it like this, if we get to around $1,000 Ethereum, I'm gonna buy. Gala is also what I am interested in to accumulate. It had a very good run. I mean, it went from 1.5 cents to 6 cents in a small bear market rally, right? Now, can you imagine what it does in a good bull market? So that's like, this is our preview. This is our snippet of like, okay, this could happen. So be prepared. Look, here's what this coin can do. Now suit yourself what you're gonna do with it. Right, that's our warning sign. Like, okay, be prepared for Gala. So I'm very interested in Gala. However, not at these prices yet. And again, if you are in Bitcoin, great. You can now buy Gala at the bottom, right? That's just what it is. Gala just puts in a new low, right? Well, almost. But this is the low, basically triple bottom. Maybe this is the last chance that we get, but maybe it finally takes out these lows and we will get way better entries. I mean, if you look at how this line is moving right here, give or take, it's not perfect. Maybe we will get down to that line and bounce off of that, right? And we get an entry which is twice as cheap. So yeah, I mean, if the Bitcoin pair goes down twice, right, then and Bitcoin stays the same, then the dollar pair goes down twice as well, which is actually here. But if Bitcoin also goes down in the meantime, then the dollar pair on these altcoins is way lower. And again, it's not that unthinkable that you know, I don't believe that 27.5 is the lowest price for Bitcoin that we will ever see from now on. I don't know where the low is going to be. Let me put it like this. I think that we have seen the bottom, but it doesn't mean we cannot go down from here, right? So if Bitcoin goes to 20K, right, which is very possible, yeah, then that's the altcoin capitulation that we are waiting for. Games for a living, very new. I wouldn't YOLO into this if I were you. I participated in this launch via Seedify and made some decent profits off of it. Still get one badge that I can sell, and I tell you, I am going to sell that. Very simple, because everybody else is going to do the same thing. So if I don't do it, anybody else will, and the price goes down anyway. Might take some profits and buy back later, right? Plus, these new tokens always have a hard vesting that's going on. So you don't want to buy new tokens on the open market right away, usually. Depends on the vesting, of course. IMX is a project that I think is going to do very well, but it's now completely crashing. It was a perfect distribution phase over here after this hard run up from like 40 cents to 160. It did a 4x, right, distribution, and now it's finally coming down. And it's different than this. These were like 4 or 5 red candles in a row, and then we were already down, right? From here, it's been way more red candles and way more consistent. Some green and then red and green, but overall going down. And it looks like it's sitting on pretty tight support, to be honest, right now. Well, around at, tight support here. It looks like good support, right? We had resistance again, support. But yeah, like, that's the thing. If I would look purely at this chart, I'd be like, okay, good, support. But then again, I look at the total 3 and I cannot think of anything else than going down here. Right? That's the thing that's holding me back. A lot of individual tokens are looking very good. But support and resistances are there to be broken eventually, right? IMX could be sitting at beautiful support, and it can and maybe will probably bounce a little bit off of here. So beautiful, right? And if you really have no allocation in such a token and you don't want to miss out, you can consider dollar costing a little bit at these prices already, in case this is one of the exceptions that doesn't really crashes, right? Because I think IMX, for example, is a very good long-term hold. But yeah, overall, this chart includes IMX as well, right? Everything. Yeah, and if this goes down, which is like so far, well, 98% sure that it will happen, in my opinion. Yeah, it's not that IMX is going to stay flat or up, probably, right? That's also going down. And then you have to ask yourself, like, okay, if this is such a big support, what if this goes down? If this support gets broken, then what's the next level, right? Well, the next level is 50 cents, give or take, right? I mean, you just have to look where the resistances and support lines are coming together. And that's here. We have a little support here. We have resistance here. We have a little resistance here. It's not much, but that's what it is, right? So yeah, you can buy heavily right now. But if we do break this, then it's an easy 30% drop down. And yeah, then what, right? Therefore, you want a dollar cost in that case, because yeah, then you have a good entry, you have another good entry. If we break that and we go back to like 40 cents, you have another good entry. These are the most important levels for IMX, in my opinion, if I look at this, right? So I'm not going to buy when it goes up. Hell no. A lot of people bought at around 160. Now, let us buy at 50 cents and like 40 cents and all of that. These are way bigger entries, way better entries. And also now, if I look at the stochastic RSI, which is on the daily a little oversold now, it's a pretty good sign. I mean, you can look at it like that, right? Every time we are in that area, right, that was over here, we went, in this case, from 90 cents to 110, give or take, right? Here, probably the same. We were oversold. Yeah, and here we went from $1 to 126, right? And you can look at it like that. So the chance that it will bounce here is pretty high. And I think it could even bounce to 90 cents. So my dollar costs a little bit. If I look at IMX Bitcoin, these are hard times in crypto right now. It's one or the other. Like right now, it's like gambling, right? Because also IMX Bitcoin is sitting at some big support, right? If we do break down below that, there's basically one support level left, right? Which is around here. So it's now sitting at that huge support. If the Bitcoin dominance does go down from here, it means IMX Bitcoin will go up, right? However, if the Bitcoin dominance finally breaks out, it could take IMX off of its last support. One less. I don't know. Fuck my English, man. You know what I mean. So if it gets taken out of that support, yeah, again, then the dollar value is in for a long way down, right? So it's mostly the question, what's going to happen with the Bitcoin dominance, and also with the total 3. The total 3 is a more clear image for me than the Bitcoin dominance is. Total 3, again, it's in a downwards trend. The trend is still intact, so it's very likely to go down, right? Bitcoin dominance, on the other hand, also the range is clear, but like I said, it's been here for 2 months almost, compared to 1 day or 1 day or 1 day, right? It's totally showing strength right now for the first time. So yeah, Link is still a coin that I feel like, which is interesting to look at. Link dollar is also ranging, right? It's ranging since last year, May. So it's basically between $5.80 and, well, give or take $9. Now sitting at $6.50. So it's more to the downside of the range. But again, if you look at the Bitcoin valuation, it's been going down since November 2022. right? And it's been lower than where it was sitting ever since June 2022, right? Here it finally took out this low, and we never went like it's now lower than that. So also Link is not really looking that good, and I don't know why I have this drawn like this. But Link doesn't have a lot of room anymore to fall as well. So I don't know. I'm waiting a little bit to see what the dominance is going to do, right? If the dominance does go down, it means that these Bitcoin valuations go up. And then I can look at this chart all over again. And I probably miss out on a little move. But if you don't do that and you just buy or don't buy right now, yeah, that's a gamble. You don't really know which way it is going, right? So therefore, I rather don't gamble and miss out on a little bit than gambling and lose it all, basically, if you know what I mean, hypothetically. Matic, beautiful coin for the long term, in my opinion. Yeah, it had an insane run, 30 cents to 160. It did an IMX right there, basically, even slightly better. And Matic has been just going with these partnerships, the biggest partnerships in all crypto, basically. So it's super strong. But yeah, again, it's almost twice as low as where it was, right? And it was ranging here between 96 cents and 74, and it's back in the range, right? This was support. It was like resistance over here. When we broke out, it turned into support, and now we broke it, and we're back into that level. So it's now 86 cents. Yeah, the next support level is 74. Not much has to happen for Matic to get there. And it's also because it broke its Bitcoin pair support level, and now it's just hanging in nowhere, no man's land, basically. So for this to go down quite a lot, yeah, again, doesn't need much for that to happen, and that's like what, 30% or so, 26%. So I'm a little cautious with Matic. I've drawn this line here while it was sitting here, and I sold a little bit. Yeah, I'm quite happy I did because it came down twice as much already. Nakamoto Games is also a coin that I think is really nice for the long term. Also slightly more high risk as it is very micro cap, well, low cap, but I think a very good play. You know, it's not like a safe play like Avax or even a Gala on IMAX or Chainlink, Matic, whatever, but it's also something that actually can pull off a very much X compared to these other coins. And it is like, it bounced off perfectly on this level right here of this 17 cents. But I always look at these charts and I feel like, okay, it came from 5 cents. It went all the way up to 38 cents. So more than a 7x, did a 7.5x, right? And now it is down 40%. Is that enough compared to that 7x that it just did? I don't know, Bart. I don't know. So I am waiting a little bit with Nakamoto Games to see how things are going to play out. I must say 15, 14 cents looks a lot more attractive. Volker Forged, yeah, this is the example that I gave in one of the last videos. Volker Forged, also it looks like it's at the lower side of the range. But like I said, if you look at its Bitcoin pair, it's sitting way lower than where it was previously when it was sitting at the same dollar value, right? So that's a little concerning to me. Again, in November, it was sitting at the same level, also $3. But if you look at Bitcoin pair in November, it was sitting around here, right? And it's now sitting easy 30% lower, 30, 40%, depending on where you take it. So best to just be in Bitcoin. And now you can get Volker Forged 40% as cheap while the price is the same, right? If you get that. So that, yeah, I don't know. Beautiful. So I'm waiting a little bit because this is also taken off of its support. right? And the things that I'm waiting for is to see like, okay, what's the Bitcoin dominance doing? Does it break up? Then we go down. And then we have to look by then where things are going. If the Bitcoin dominance gets rejected and this thing goes up, I want to see if this is actual resistance right now. Then I'm not doing anything as well. Or if this is actually support. And if that's the case, then I can see this thing go up even further. And then this is my entry. So like I said, then I might miss out on this 10, 12% move. But at least I'm not risking a lot of money because the direction is just not really that clear for now. Super is something that I'm very interested in. Also slightly more high risk, high reward, but interesting project. On the so far this year, it's been doing well. I mean, it's making, you know, high lows, higher highs. So I want to see this hold. I want to see it make a higher high. If it doesn't, I feel like, okay, let's wait. Let's see how far this downside is going. Also on its Bitcoin pair, you know, that's what you see, right? Dollar valuation has been going up. I think this is close to 90% already. Well, not really, but whatever. It's been going up. But if you look at the Bitcoin pair, it's basically sitting at its lows, right? It's like January where I started, that's here, right? So it's at the same level. So yeah, and Ultra also. Ultra is that's a good example of what might happen if a coin breaks out of a downward trend, right? That's what you can see right here. Got rejected, got rejected, got rejected. We broke out. Now we retest that line, and I want to see a good retest and then fly. And it looks like it is retesting it at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of beautiful. I want to see how this is going to play out. But therefore, I also want to look at the Bitcoin pair, and it's hanging on its last support right there. So Ultra, keep it in mind. If the Bitcoin dominance gets rejected right here, then I think Ultra is a coin that can have a good move. Just saying, right? If you followed what I said. So now, when to buy it? Well, I gave you these levels, but these levels can be totally invalid at the moment that, for example, the total 3 does decide to break out to the downside like it did in 2018, right? Because then it's price exploring to the downside, and it's still a possibility that that happens, right? So in that case, I just want to wait to see how this is going to play out. But usually, I mean, look at this. Let's go to Bitcoin, last cycle. Bitcoin, blah, dollar. Where did Bitcoin found its bottom? Bitcoin found its bottom in the, let me check the exact date, the 10th, I think, well, 15th of December 2018, right? So if you look at 15 December 2018 on the total 3, so the altcoin market, here you go, that should be here, right? This is where Bitcoin bottomed. But what happened with altcoins? Altcoins made a lower low, you know, and it's not far from that. So you could say that it's a double bottom right here, right? But altcoins basically from December 2018 until March 2020, so 1.5 years, did absolutely nothing, right? If you were just holding, if you were trading, you could make money. But if you were just holding, 1.5 years later, you ended up at the same level until March 2020. Right? If you now look at Bitcoin, this is March 2020, right? It's quite higher than what that altcoin market did, right? It's a big difference. You cannot say that this is a double bottom. This is clearly lower, right? Altcoins tend to bottom well after Bitcoin found its bottom, especially on their Bitcoin pair. Again, if you look at like one that goes back for a while, Cardano, for example, December 2018, right? Bitcoin found its bottom. That's here. That's here. This was the Bitcoin bottom, right? So if you feel like, oh, Bitcoin has bottomed, so we can now buy altcoins. Well, I don't know. Look what Cardano did on its Bitcoin pair from that point. It still went down to the low, another 53%. Another 53%. That's a lot. That's a lot, right? That's really a lot. I mean, if you bought Cardano at the Bitcoin bottom and you rode it to the top, you would have made a 650%, right? but it would have taken you around, this is the daily chart, 2 years before you were even playing even, right? Before you got your money back, because first you had a little profit, then you had a loss, then you had to wait a long time, a lot of profit again, a lot of loss, and 2 years later you were back at the same point. And only from then, you did that all for 7x. Okay, if you bought, right, and again, you can time the bottom, but still, that's like you want to get as close to it as possible. If you bought here, 1, you did not have to wait that long. 2, you did not have to face these temporary losses because you already bought around the bottom or at the bottom or whatever. And 3, you did not make a 650%, you made a almost 1500%. So it's less pain in the meantime. You do not need a lot of patience holding a coin that's going down, and you get rewarded by getting twice as much out of it. Right? So if in, what was it, November, December? Sorry, it's early. Yeah, November. If in November was Bitcoin's bottom, right, it doesn't mean, right, that was here. So let's say, let's just speculate a little bit. I don't know though, right? Okay, so I'm just fucking around right here. I'm just a stupid Dutch guy on YouTube. If this right here was the Bitcoin bottom, it doesn't mean that was the best place to buy altcoins, right? Because Cardano is now already down. God damn it, come on, work with me. 25% from that point. What if it goes down actually indeed 50%? It's around 860 Satoshis, right? Let's say this yellow line right here. It looks like a decent support level and it does not have to come down again another 50%. But let's say this will be the bottom, right? But this could play out over 2 years. So November 2022, let's say it will bottom somewhere end of 2024, right? And this could be anywhere. And then only around here, it's a good moment to actually step into it. I think it will be a little earlier than that though, but you know, it's not impossible, right? Why would you then rush into altcoins right now while everything is still making clearly lower lows and lower highs, right? I mean, look at this chart. Again, you want to buy when it's going sideways, not when it's going, well, also maybe when it's going up, right? If you're at the start of it, not when it's in its distribution phase. Especially not when it's going down, right? They're throwing your money away with every single dip you get. I mean, these lower lows, lower highs, very simple. Don't buy ADA right now. And that goes for a lot of coins. So yeah, that's kind of my time horizon on it. So I think that Bitcoin will go really up at around this area right here. Oh, I can show you on this chart at around this area right here, midway 2024, because that's a couple of months after the Bitcoin halving, and the blue lines are the halvings, right? Look what it's doing after the halving. We have this year before the halving, that pre-run, and it's going sideways. Then a couple of months later, we get the parabolic run here as well. The pre-halving going sideways, up, down, whatever, a little up. And then after the halving, really going parabolic. Here as well, pre-halving is going up, might come down again, overall be a little bit of sideways, and then after the halving, I think it's going up again, right? So that's kind of the thing. So yeah, if you look at the total 3D altcoin market, and we now overlay Bitcoin on it, it's quite funny. Let me show you, and then I'm gonna wrap it up, because it's always taking too long, sorry for that. Look. This is Bitcoin, for example. The altcoin market, these are these candles, right? And the orange line is Bitcoin. You see that Bitcoin is just going up sooner and harder than altcoins. Altcoins are just following a little bit after that, right? So if my expectation is that that the Bitcoin halving is next year, well, that's not my that's what's going to happen. But if my expectation is that that's the moment that Bitcoin is going to run, yeah, then why, you know, throw my money away in this altcoin market right now? Even here in 2019, which is pretty comparable, Bitcoin had an insane run from 3K to around 12K, and then went pretty much, you know, sideways. While the altcoin market, like it did okay, right? But it came down way harder, and it was not that parabolic as this. So yeah, I don't know, man. Patience, patience, patience. Patience will be rewarded big time. So these are the altcoins that I'm currently looking at. Take a look at it. Like I said, there is a lot more, but I just want to have a list that I can buy without thinking whenever a good capitulation will occur. And if we get such a capitulation as right here, I don't know that, but I am at least prepared for that. And I'd rather sit with a bag of cash for nothing than see the altcoin market crash without a bag of cash. So a nice rhyme to wrap it up with. Guys, if you like the video, like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'm here every day. You know, feel free to join the family. Make sure to join our Telegram group where we can talk with each other, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.